Hello, and welcome to Presence Practice with Poonam and Parker. Hey, Poonam. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Parker. Thank you.
Thank you. And this video is on the mental phantom. So it's March the 1st, Sunday, March the 1st, 2020, and Eckhart put out this video. And in the video, he speaks about the mental phantom made up of a narrative that you have of another, which drops this veil. And then there's this need for superiority and inferiority because now our roles are competing with each other. I don't know if he says all that, but Poonam and I were just discussing it would be wonderful to share it with everyone here.
So let's share the video.
It's not just that he hasn't arrived yet, that's a simple fact. But you could have spin a narrative around it, and the narrative says, why can't he have the decency of being on time? So you have got a huge thing already built up in your mind. And you don't know what you're doing it. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. And once you start with a thought like that, why can't you have the decency to lead to another similar thought? And before you know it, you are trapped in an antagonistic attitude towards this person who is keeping you waiting, keeping me waiting, me. No. And then that can color the entire interaction after when this person finally arrives. This unhappy, luckless person finally arrives, and then this person doesn't know that you've already created a huge mental phantom of who that person is, and then you're no longer meeting that person, you're meeting your mental phantom. So yes, you see this human being, but there's a huge veil between you and him, and that veil is the mental phantom that you have created. It's a narrative, and that narrative provided food for your ego. That narrative emphasized the otherness of the other, and the ego loves it. And then once you've done that, then you go home, and then you pick up the phone, and then you tell the story of what happened to somebody else. And it blows up, it grows even more. And then the other person, oh, that's nothing, you know what happened to me? Now, there's always an element of the need to be superior that's concealed, but the need for superiority is always part of these egoic strategies. So even when you're pronouncing judgment, you're creating these strange narratives about assumed motivations and all kinds of things about this other person. There's something in the background. And that is the my thought is suddenly stopped.
That was great. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Where were we, Poonam? So isn't that wonderful? His sense of humor is so wonderful. The way he, in such stark ways, is able to point out these insane patterns that humans have right now. So the mental phantom made of a narrative that you have of another, it's like a veil. It could be someone that's new or someone that you've not ever met before, right? Like, you know, and then it's almost spoken about like it's expected that it should be this way. Someone tells the story. I had this interview and then I come in and these people were late. They made me sit there and it's going to cost me more money. They had a whole story like of being right. And then that's like the energy that you meet the person when they get there to 10 minutes late. And it's sort of like the insta karma. It's always happening. But what would happen when we just leave people alone? It's the same fogginess that happens when someone's done something that we decided was mean in some way. For instance, mean. It even have to be towards us. It could be somebody else. We saw it and it was mean. And so we construct this narrative of who this person is. And it's not even, every interaction we've had has been beautiful and just like we like it. And then we see this thing and now suddenly that person is really this person. And when we focus on that, then that's what we will experience and will witness. But we don't even have to tell any story about how great or not great they are. In the end, no one really needs that. And when I've met the people that have climbed to the top of the world and sat there miserable, so it's not going to be found there. It's found in the spaciousness. And the peace that's always there. It's not judging a person or a situation or creating any kind of narrative. And let's say we already have, let's say we're down the path and we notice that, and also not to make a narrative about that either. So drop that too. That all we need to do is notice. And let things fall away on their own. Have a little drink of water in the present moment. What do you say on the topic?
So, excuse me. I have not listened to the whole video, but from this snippet, what I can experience is he's talking about when we are sitting in a, I'm assuming this is like a music hall, like a venue, right? So we're sitting on a chair in a venue and we're waiting on Eckhart to walk in, and for whatever reason, he's running late, right? So now when we know that the time is supposed to be 9 a.m. or 9 p.m., whatever the time was for this talk of his, the ego is feeling diminished because the ego is it's being made to wait.
Yes.
Right? So the moment the ego feels diminished in the waiting, even though it is such a, in India, one of the things in India is there's and this is something that Eckhart talks about too, in the conscious manifestation course, that there was a person from India that would, even though he didn't have enough money, he would leave 100 pounds every time, when it was set up for donation, he would always leave 100 pounds. That's how people from India are. Like, we kind of respect a spiritual teacher. There's an innate deep sense because it's a guru, disciple, guru tradition that we know of. So I would not think, like, if Eckhart is making me wait, it's just a guru and you just honor it, right? That the guru is making you wait. But now, if it's a normal human being with a normal pattern, their ego is going to be diminished and they're going to say, the ego will come back and say, why is he making me wait? And that's the superiority that in that one little image making of how can he make me wait, right? The mental phantom, it's just an image. The reason why he says phantom is because it's just an image in the mind. It's not real. Like Eckhart is not saying, I'm going to make all these attendees of this event, I want to make them miserable by making them wait. He's not doing any of that, right?
Right.
So this is our image making, that we have an image in our mind and we go, how can he not be on time? He Eckhart Tolle, not be on time when he made me come in at 8 p.m. and I'm here half hour early, right?
Yeah.
So even in that little thing, I love the fact that Eckhart has such mastery, and that's my adoration, love, and respect, is the fact he understands the human ego so well. Like he catches all the little insidious ways in which the ego sneaks in, right? And comes in and says the identified mind, then we are identified with that thought that, hey, he's making me wait. And then we are regurgitating, and like he gives the example, we're regurgitating it. In the evening, we'll call all kinds of friends and go, can you believe it that I went to an Eckhart event and he made me wait? He couldn't even make it on, what kind of a organization event manager did he hire after we paid? He must have earned millions of dollars from that event, and they couldn't even manage an event that they couldn't have
Yeah.
right?
Yes, it's the talk from Toronto, and it's the illusion of identity. That's the name of the talk this month. So it's the same with everything. So this same thing transfers to situations, to labels, self-imposed labels of either superior or inferior, which on the horizontal dimension is true, but it's less true or not true at all in the vertical, and less true when you're not identified with those roles. You can, when you're doing this, you're doing this. Now I'm also doing this, and then you're being at the same time, which allows us to be at peace and in complete enjoyment of the simplicity of each moment, and allow people to present as they will. And
I love the
it.
way he lives his teachings, because there are a lot of times in these music hall where it's like complete silence, suddenly a phone will go off and he goes, it's just telling us to be in the present moment. He'll make like a very small comment of the fact that the phone is ringing. I know at the Omega Center, once somebody, one of the attendees retreat, and it was a retreat, attendee's phone went off, or in Australia, and that person started apologizing to him. Maybe they were in the front row, so they started apologizing, and he goes, no, this is not like a concert. Maybe you'll be thrown out of this place if it was a concert, but this is not a concert, right? So I see him so live out his spaciousness, offer whatever arises in this present moment, the uncompromising yes to this present moment. I mean, mind blowing. Good. We're gonna end it.
That's
Thank
good.
you.